had in Miami. Some of you joined virtually. Some of you were actually down there with us in Miami. And these economic elevation circles are our family business meetings. This is where we get together and do something that I want you to also do with your own family directly. And that is get together and talk about the things that you are trying to accomplish. Treat yourself like a business. Treat your family like it's an institution, and make sure that's going to be an institution that thrives for the next 2, 3, 400 years, right? So I really want you to lay out some groundwork. I want you to be the canaries in the mine. You are the talented tenth. That's what you are. If you don't come through, then none of us can come through in the community because you're on the cutting edge of economics. And what I want you to do is I don't really want you to be a student for too long. I also need you to be a teacher. And so this is what the Economic Elevation Circle is all about. So if you want to join us tonight, you can go to economicelevationcircle.com. One membership provides for the whole family. So it's buy one, get 10 free. So you can bring all your cousins, your relatives, anybody you want, and everybody's invited. Everybody can come in for the same membership. All right. So anyway, as we get started, I'm sending out the text message to let everybody know that we're starting right now. Uh, and there's something I wanted to talk to you guys about that was spurred yesterday. I was talking to my aunt. My aunt's in the shipping business, and they ship like freights and containers and stuff like that around the world. And one thing she said to me that was really interesting was she said that since the tariffs started, she said their business is basically dead. She said, we used to have 50 containers that would be in the warehouse at one time. She said now we have like one. And that was really interesting and alarming information to me because you can't tell me I bet every nickel in my bank account that she's not the only one, that there's lots of people out there that are going through this. And what's probably true, in my opinion, is that maybe the economic data has not caught up with the economic reality. That we right now have a setup where the elites who look at data, GDP numbers, things like that, and tell you what the economy is doing, they're not actually in the economy. They're not actually out here searching for jobs. They're not actually out here running businesses. They do surveys. They'll survey CEOs and get their sentiment, like how much investing you're going to do. Then they'll survey consumers and they'll say, how confident do you feel? Do you feel like spending? And most of that data, they call that soft data. Most of that soft data indicates that we're headed toward a recession. But I think that sort of that, hearing what my aunt said, and then also seeing some things I've seen in terms of how the docs have slowed down and stuff like that, that really tells me that there's kind of a recession. I believe that there's a silent recession that's working its way through the economy. And so again, I could be wrong, I could be off base, but I would encourage you to be very mindful, very careful as you invest, because what tends to happen a lot of times with the stock market is it's like something will happen. There'll be a catalyst. There'll be like one piece of information that is released and it freaks out the whole market. And then suddenly everything collapses, everything crashes. And so, right now, while everything's really good, you may want to go ahead and store your nuts for the winter. You guys that know about things like put options, stuff like that, that's a good way to protect yourself, stop loss orders, things like that. I did something called stormproof investing. That was a training I did. I think it's stormproofinvesting.com. Yeah, if you go to stormproofinvesting.com, you could take a look at that training I did on how to stormproof your portfolio. There's about 7 different ways, at least seven, five to seven different ways to, well, I say 5 to 7. I say, because the last two, might be a little more complex. Okay, it looks like it says, for some reason, that URL is acting weird. So what I'm going to do is I'll just find it and I'll text. Here we go. I'll just grab the link and I'll share it with you guys. Yeah, it should be stormproofinvesting.com, but if it doesn't work, then just I'll just pop it into the chat so you guys can have it. But that's a good way to prepare because what is oh, it does work. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it didn't work for me for a second. I didn't know what was going on. So here's the deal. Let me kind of go through some stuff. I was doing some research on this silent recession that's happening right now. and it did kind of alarm me a little bit. It made me think about my portfolio. Remember, I'm invested in the same stock market you're invested in, and and remember we did that survey yesterday where about almost I want to say it was almost 80% of you are investing regularly in the stock market. I need that number to get to like closer to 100%. I need it to be like 90% or higher. I know some of you are new. There are new people joining the class, the morning class every day, but I really want that to be a priority for this week. Just get you a little account, get you a Robinhood, Acorn, Stash, E-Trade, I don't care what it is, and set some amount of money that's going to be invested consistently for your family. That's what you do because I don't want you just learning. See, when you're just learning and you're just taking in information, you are building capital. Knowledge is wealth. Training is wealth. Education is wealth. They call that human capital. So every time you sit down and you learn something new, pick up a new skill, you're picking up a lot of human capital. That's wonderful. But here's the thing, we've always had human capital. We've always built human capital. Most of you, a lot of you in here have gone to school. I'm a college professor, so a lot of you have gone to college. Some of you graduated, some of you may not have graduated. That's okay. Some of you may not have gone to college, and that's okay too, because you're going to college right now. All college means is that you're in a place where you're hearing from a college professor. So you're literally in a university right now. Our kids have been going to college since they were babies, and they just don't even know it. So that human capital is basically like all this knowledge and information that you're piling into your brain. The problem with human capital is that it depletes. It depletes. It's like food that spoils and goes bad. If I buy some ham or something, or some turkey or some chicken or fruit, and I put it in my refrigerator, eventually that fruit goes bad. So the human brain, the human body goes bad, right? Over time, you get tired. You don't want to work anymore. And so if you have this, all your capital is invested in, like, say, education. Like, I've been going to school, I took a million classes, so now I know how to make a bunch of money because I have all this skill. Well, okay, great. You go out and you get you a nice job. You're really using that capital efficiently. You're a high paid attorney. You're making $500 an hour. You've got just an unstoppable number of billable clients coming in. So you're doing good, right? That sounds great. But then it's at one point you wake up and you're like, I'm tired, like I'm sore. I don't want to work anymore. I don't want to keep struggling every day, right? And so what happens is that what's happening is that your human capital is depleting. It's no different from being a basketball player, and eventually you can't play basketball anymore. Your knees get tired, you get old. So the thing about it is that you don't want all your capital to just be human capital. You don't want, because if you do that, then it depletes, and then when it depletes, you have no ability to generate income anymore. So what you do is you generate as much income as you can from your human capital, but you have to transfer that into other forms of more sustainable capital. So it's like if you think about food. Sure, I might buy the chicken and the turkey and the fruit, but I'm also gonna maybe get some canned goods, or maybe get some food items that can't be that won't perish. Maybe I'm also gonna get a garden in the back so that I can have other food supplies just in case the grocery store shuts down. I'm gonna make sure I have all forms of wealth as opposed to just one type of wealth. So as Black people, one of the things we've done is we've over allocated to our human capital. We go to school, go to school, go to school, get degrees, everything else, years and years and years of study, which is a good thing, but that does not generate financial security. Most Black college graduates are not financially secure. Would you agree with me? Most Black college graduates do not have enough wealth to feel safe where they could stop working for the next 2 years and be okay. Would you agree with that assessment? Right? Think about this. I mean, if education was the answer, then every single person who graduated from college will be in good shape financially. You'd be safe. You could quit your job, lose your job, and it wouldn't be a problem. You'd be okay. But would you agree with me when I say that most Black college graduates are not financially secure? So if the answer is yes and you agree with me, the question you would ask then is like, well, why is that? Like, what the heck? Well, I can answer that question. This is what I study. A lot of it's because we have an overemphasis on human capital as a pathway to wealth creation, or as a pathway to income generation. We're led to believe that if you go to college, I don't know about any of you, but I grew up during a time where it was like going to college, making good grades, and doing well in school. That was your ticket. When I was 18, I came out of high school. Going back to my old high school, since I've been home in Kentucky for the last few days, going back to my old high school is very traumatizing because I had a lot of bad memories in that place, and it wasn't like good nostalgia. I did not have a good high school experience. And I remember coming out of that building the last day I was there, and I had a baby on the way, and I was scared to death, and I didn't know what to do next. So out of panic, and I thought I only had three options. The only options I thought I had. Remember, I was telling you yesterday about having options and how options is a form of wealth. I didn't feel like I had any options. The only three options I knew about was, uh, you know, keeping my job at Taco Bell, um, two, going to the military, and then three, going to college. Those are the only three options I knew about. Nobody talked to me about investing. Nobody talked to me about entrepreneurship. If I didn't know a stock option from a sack of potatoes at that time. And so because I had this baby coming, and because I wasn't, I was a hardworking kid. I didn't know how hardworking I was, but I was. I was captain of my track team, not because I was the fastest, but because I worked the hardest. Also, I would work long hours at my job. So I was like, okay, I think education is my path. Like if I go to college, the University of Kentucky, they barely let me in. If I said if I go to college and I work hard in college, then I can get a good job, which will allow me to provide for my child. That was my logic was that simple. So I invested heavily in education. I did extremely well. My grades were really good. Everyone was surprised because they didn't know I had it in me, and I didn't know I had it in me. And so I did all that and I did get a good job. My first job, I made six figures, but that was after I finished my PhD, did literally 12 years of school and 13 years actually. And the thing was, in hindsight, though, the more I started to really meditate on wealth, I didn't understand wealth until I meditated on it, until I started to make connect emotionally to it. Before it was theoretical, before it was studying in a book and learning mathematics behind it. I knew all that stuff cold. You have to know it pretty well to get a doctorate. But then I really started meditating on it. I started observing the world and I started looking around and seeing how money affects people, how it affects them emotionally, how money causes people to do crazy things. How, whether it's going to a Diddy party or dating an ugly person because they have money. I saw how money affected men and women differently. I noticed like a lot of the men would have more machismo, more testosterone when their money was right, and the women were more attracted to them when they had more money. And then women would freak out over financial insecurity. Like if a man was not financially responsible, that would really scare the hell out of women, right? And so it just kind of stuff like that was really interesting to me. So it wasn't just money itself; it was really how money affects us. And I said, okay, so a lot of us are kind of like addicts. We're like stuck in an addictive state. We're like financial addicts in the sense that if you think about an addict needs their drug in order to feel normal. If you look at a heroin addict, both of my fathers were hooked on heroin. One of them got off, the other one didn't. And heroin, is something where if you don't have it, your body starts tweaking, you go crazy, you're not comfortable. So you think about it with money. When people have their money and their cash flow is consistent, they feel good. But when their cash flow gets messed up, they start tweaking and getting scared and cold sweats and can't sleep at night and stressed out and wide-eyed and angry, right? Just tell me if you know what I'm talking about, right? Like when your money's messed up, it messes you up emotionally, for everybody. And that's when I started really thinking about the importance of financial security and then also realizing the lack of it. And I really realized that's when I came to that conclusion. I said, "Oh, okay, so capitalism, it's a pimp and hoe system. It's a drug dealer, drug addict system. That the drug dealers they love to keep you addicted. They love to keep you addicted to the paycheck, where you need that smooth cash flow in order to feel normal. And the way they keep you in line is they threaten to take away the drug. That's what they do, right? So they take away your job, or they threaten to take it away, or whatever. And people freak out, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't want this to happen to me." So it kind of keeps people under control, right? And effectively, so financial security is deeper than just having enough money. I think that a lot of us may not even know what financial security looks like or even think deeply about it that much. I think also it's so much more than just about the money though. That's the crazy part. I was like, okay, so this ain't just about money. This is about life. This is about peace and happiness and fulfillment and safety and comfort. So, going back to my point about human capital investment. meaning the overcommitment to education as a pathway to economic success. I think that that is a flawed strategy. I think that education is essential for sure. I think that what is more, even more essential though, is asking questions like, are you getting the right kind of education? Are you learning the skills that you really need to know in order to truly be a successful, complete, content African American person or a black person wherever you live? Some of you live in other countries. I know that, right? Are you learning those skills? Second piece is what's beyond the education? Like what does the education alone? So my conclusion is that human capital by itself does not lead to financial security, because if that were the case, then every black college graduate would be financially secure. And a measuring stick might be, can you quit your job for 2 years and still be able to pay your bills and not freak out about it? The answer is probably no. So, so with that said, I would encourage you to kind of think about that, especially given that they have this silent recession kind of on the way. I think that there is a recession coming. I think Trump, he disrupted the economy quite a lot, and I think that there's going to be a price to pay for that. Despite the fact that the stock market is saying otherwise. But what most experts are saying right now is that the market's kind of spoiled a little bit. Like people are used to things just bouncing right back. They think if they buy the dip, everything is going to be okay in 2 weeks. And this may be a little bit different. So you may want to hunker down and be careful and protect yourself. Now, a couple of quick announcements I want to mention is if you study stock options with us, I just sent you all a link to a Q&A that I just did. I just answered a bunch of your questions in the stock options class. So if you're on that list, you got that. If you want to learn options from us or join the Prime program, try texting the word options to the number 87948. So text options to 87948, and we have some stuff there that I think you guys will like that will help you to dig deeper into stock options. Also, the Economic Elevation Circles tonight at 8:30 Eastern. That's our family business meeting. We're planning generational wealth for the next several hundred years. So if you'd like to join us, and this is easy to do. It's not me talking in terms of fantasies and hyperbole. Like this is easy. It's just you'd be amazed at how like little things, just basic, simple little things you can do will make a big difference. And once you understand wealth, it's like being the master of the universe. Like you just really are like, okay, I get it now. And so what happens is sometimes I think because I understand like where wealth is and how it works and all that, I don't feel as intimidated by racism or what white people are doing and all this other stuff. I'm like, yeah, I mean they're gonna do what they're gonna do. I think the sooner you can accept reality about the fact that you don't have a lot of support, you don't have a lot of people that truly care about you, and also that there are people that are economically incentivized to manipulate you, then you kind of realize, okay, this is what I'm working with. This is who I am. And then you can focus on your blessings instead of focusing on your deficiencies. I think that talking about black people and black wealth from a deficit model is very harmful. I think that when your first focus is what you ain't got and what they took away and what they gonna do to you, that just makes it hard for you to win, because you can't really win. You can't really win a football game if you're playing defense all the time. Like you can't score points on defense most of the time. You have to play offense, and offense says, okay, we've already talked about to ad nauseum what we don't have. Let's talk about what we do have. Let's talk about the fact that the African American community, one thing we have in common with Africa is that in both cases you have trillions of dollars in untapped economic potential that's sitting right there. It's like oil buried under the ground. And so if you if you don't drill for it, if you just sit and you're crying on the land that has oil underneath the ground, then you're never going to get the wealth that's there. You have to start drilling. You got to drill, baby, drill, right? And if you're drilling, what you'll find is that our children are a source of wealth. Our work ethic's a source of wealth. Our intelligence is a source of wealth. Our connection is a source of wealth. When we get together, for example, in the Economic Elevation Circle tonight, I'll explain, we can break it down exactly why just in that room, there's wealth in that room. But the thing is, you have to know how to connect the dots. You have to know how to connect the people, how to connect the ideas, how to connect the plans, and then you execute the plans. And then next thing you know, money starts coming out, right? And it's not because you necessarily created something new. You've just pieced together something that's already there. You formed a connection that's there. And this is really a matter of forming new economic systems. A lot of people have a lot to say about systematic racism. I believe in systematic racism. I was on a debate where it was with some other black people, and they were saying that systematic racism wasn't real. I think one of the guys said that, and I said, no, I believe systematic racism is very real, but it's also contingent on which system you're committed to. There's billions of systems all around the world. There's lots of systems out there. The question is, which system are you committed to? And I think that we're trained to commit to a system that isn't fair to us. But what we don't always know is that you have the ability to create alternative systems, but you have to be trained on how to build a system. And that's why I say that our children should learn how to build systems when they're kids. There's a model that we use in our Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program for kids called a Sturdy, building sturdy children. Sturdy is spelled STERDY. You can write this down if you want to. Sturdy stands for Systems, Technology, Entrepreneurship, Relationships, and Delegation for the Youth. Systems, Technology, Entrepreneurship, Relationships, and Delegation for the Youth. Systems means that I think children should learn how to think in terms of systems when it comes to money instead of labor. Labor says if I make $20 an hour and I work 20 hours, I make $400 because that's 20 times 20. Systems means that if I sell 20 units of a product and the products are $20 a piece, then I can make $400. That has nothing to do with time. I'm not selling time anymore. Time is scarce, time is fleeting, time is limited. Selling time for money is a trade-off where they're giving you something that can easily be replaced. These worthless little pieces of paper called dollar bills, you're giving them something that can't be replaced. You're giving them time. You're giving them your youth. You're giving them your time that could be spent with your children before they grow up. You're giving them time that could be spent with you finding yourself and living your life. So you're giving them something of infinite value. They're giving you something of very little value. Dollar bills, I don't know if y'all, how many of y'all know this? Dollar bills don't have any value. Did y'all know that? The dollar bills are not, they used to be backed by gold. They're not backed by anything now. Dollar bills are a figment of your imagination for the most part. Dollar bills have value only to the extent that people believe in them. That's it. Literally, if people believe in the dollar, then the dollar has value. If people don't believe in the dollar, if they stop believing in it, then the dollar will lose its value. This does not mean that the dollar is going to collapse tomorrow. So let's stop with the conspiracy theories. Let's not go down that route. I know about BRICS and all that. Sure that's an issue that's out there, but the U.S. has a lot of economic power and it's very, very real. But for the most part, the dollar really is, the dollar really is in your head, right? In terms of its value. So, and dollars can be replaced, they can be printed, all that stuff, but you can't print time. I'm 53. I can't print enough time to make myself 23 years old again. So if I spent 30 years selling my time, to get these worthless green pieces of paper that help me pay just enough rent to get by, that would be, as Dr. Claude Anderson refers to, as the doctrine of unequal exchange. The doctrine of unequal exchange is where you're getting something, you're giving up something this valuable, they're giving you something this valuable, and then you create a trade deficit. A trade deficit is where I'm giving you more than you're giving me. It's like a bad relationship where I'm the giver and you're the taker, and you love being in a relationship with me because you're taking. I hate being in a relationship with you because I'm giving everything up. So you have to reestablish those relationships. Okay. And honestly, quite frankly, again, I don't know how anybody feels about this, but that's where I could understand where Trump was coming from because the United States has a lot of trade deficits with countries where the trade deficit is not necessary. There are countries, China really takes advantage of the doctrine of unequal exchange. They're like, we'll sell stuff to you, but you can't sell anything to us. The Japanese are like that. They're like, you buy our stuff, but we're not going to buy yours. And that's kind of what happens with black businesses. Black businesses, same thing. You're expected to buy stuff from Target and white folks, but they don't buy your stuff, right? So that's a trade deficit, and that has to be corrected sometimes. Okay. So anyway, again, I'm not. Please don't think I'm out here advocating for Trump or for or against. I just try to call it like it is, and I know everybody's political. I think it's a waste of energy, honestly. I think you should be political about yourself and your family. So sturdy. Before I get to the sturdy model, let you guys know if you want to educate your kids on wealth and all that stuff, we have a whole set of tools available. Text the word youth to the number 87948 on your phone. Text youth to 87948. We have workbooks, flashcards, digital programs, all kinds of things. We have a whole university, a whole black business school for children, and it's the best in the world. because I really want your kids to understand advanced concepts and I need them to understand them at an early age. Like time is of the essence. The kids, grandkids, they can understand stock markets. They really can. They can understand stock options. I saw a little girl who was like doing hair and she was like 3 years old and she was doing hair like a grown up. Then I saw another video of a little kid who was dancing like he was, like he was 25 years old, but he's only three. And another kid learning how to rap. Another kid was a genius at basketball. The same way they can be geniuses at all these other things, they can also be economic geniuses. Like when I see that, I see intelligence. And what I'm saying is that I think with our kids, I think we another $1 trillion asset that we throw away is the intelligence of the kids. So I think you should get them ready early. I think you should expose them to complex ideas and just see how they respond to that, especially when you think about black boys and how much trouble they have in the public school system. Most black boys like me, like I would, and we don't respond well to this white lady from the suburbs coming up and telling us what to do. I know I didn't. I didn't feel loved in that school. I hated that school. It was terrible. My grades were in the garbage because I didn't feel like anybody cared about me, but when people did show that they cared about me, I did very well. One time I had a tutor who sat and helped me with my homework, and that felt so good because I felt so lost. I was so sad because I would try my best. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to get ready for the test, and it was really traumatic. But when I just got like a little bit of attention and a little bit of love, I flourished. I would because I wanted to perform well for that person. I wanted to do well for that person. In fact, when I was in the seventh grade, I went to this all-white school called Kentucky Country Day, and their tuition is super high. It's like the same as a university, and it was a bunch of rich white kids, and I was the only black kid in the whole sixth and seventh grade. And I remember one time somebody helped me with my homework, and I had an F in math. I had D's and F's in almost every class. And one time somebody helped me understand the math a little bit better, and I got the highest math score in the whole seventh grade. And the teacher came in and um, she said, yeah, guess who got the highest math score? And they guessed the names of the smart kids. And she said, actually, Boyce got the highest score on the test. And everybody's like, Boyce got the highest score on the test? They were kind of shocked. And they said, yeah, he didn't just get the highest score in this class. He got the highest score for every single class in the whole seventh grade. And that was just kind of, I think at that time, that was me finding out that, okay, maybe there's more there than meets the eye. I didn't even know it. I didn't even know it was there. I was like, oh, I did. Oh, cool. I didn't know. But it's like now I look back on that, I'm like, oh, that's it. That was my natural ability kind of coming out, and giving me kind of a precursor on what I was actually capable of doing once I started to really consciously tap into it by believing that it's there, right? You're not going to chase something if you don't think it's there. Like, so I tapped into it because I was like, okay, I know what I can do now. And then at that point, the sky's the limit. But a lot of our kids don't know what they can do, or they think the only thing they can do is rap and play basketball and twerk. But there's a lot of other potential there, and I think that what you'll find, especially with the boys, is the boys like to make money. The girls do too. Don't get me wrong. We got a lot of girls out here investing, doing their thing. Girls love money. We know that. But the boys, when they just understand that power of being in a situation where they can make money and not even have to work for it, that's pretty extraordinary. Like once they get exposed to some way of making money that doesn't involve trading hours of your life, even if it's a sales job. I did a sales job where I sold candy door to door for a while, and I became the best salesperson on the team because I was so inspired by the feeling of going out and making a few sales and coming home with like 25 or $30 after a few hours of work. That was a big deal when you're 12 years old. Like, but 12 years old in 1983, $12, or I'm sorry, $25 meant you were a rich man. And then another area where I made money was I sold candy. I used to buy candy at the Sam's Club. My mother used to take me to Sam's. I would buy a box of M&Ms, a crate, like a case of M&Ms for like 13.99, and I could sell that case for $30. And because kids love candy. And I was like the little neighborhood dope man. I mean, I would walk in there, I would walk into class and they would line up at my desk, and I would literally have stacks of money like just piled up in the library, counting money like a drug dealer. It was crazy. And I think those little experiences, if you give kids those opportunities to either make money through investing or owning a business, what it does is it shapes how they view the money making process. They get to the point where they're like, man, why would I go to work every day and make money when I can just start a business or I can make an investment or I can sell a product, right? And so what you've done is you've introduced them to an accelerated version of what it takes to make money, what it means to have a capital base that doesn't require you to deplete all your energy and all your time and is actually a supercharged version of what it means to make money. It's like the difference between running a marathon versus just getting in the car and driving the car 50 miles an hour. Not only you're getting there faster with less effort. Why? Well, because you have a vehicle. So the question is, are your children being introduced to financial vehicles? Financial vehicles are always better than using your financial feet. Working every day, giving up 100,000 hours of your life on this earth for a job, and when I say 100,000 hours, you know the math. 40 hours a week, fifty weeks a year, that's 2,000 hours a year over a decade. That's about 20,000 hours. But really, it's more like 25,000 hours because each week you're not giving 40 hours a week. You're really giving more like 50 because you have to spend time getting ready for work and then recovering from work when it's over. So fifty hours a week, 50 weeks a year, 2,500 hours a year over a decade, that's 25,000 hours. If you work for 40 years, that's 100,000 hours of time that you've given to invest in white businesses. So if or other businesses, but mostly white businesses, because white people are the ones that are trained to be the business owners. So the question then becomes, are you surprised that these businesses flourish when every single one of us is trained to give 100,000 hours of labor? We're making a 100,000 hour investment in their businesses. Things that get investment are the things that tend to grow. So not only are they investing in their businesses, you're investing in their businesses. The same way they're investing in their generational wealth, you're investing in their generational wealth. You're giving your life to making sure that their businesses are good and they're not breaking you off hardly any piece of that. So what you have to do is find some way to transfer that energy in the right direction, right? So instead of investing 100,000 hours into the job, I think kids should be trained to invest 100,000 hours into their family. If you invest the same amount of time in your family that you invest in your job, you will have an excellent family. If you invest that time in your children, you will have excellent children. If you invest that same amount of time that you put in your job into your wife, you will have an excellent marriage. Do you understand? A lot of times these things crumble and fall apart because we're investing so much into other things. I thought about this when I saw this really amazing, this cute video of this Kenyan lady who was a nanny for a European family, and they had these little white kids. They were adorable kids. It was cute. It was nothing. I mean, I'm not gonna make it overly racial or negative. It wasn't negative, but they loved the hell out of this nanny. This nanny, she had to go back to Kenya to spend time with her three kids, and little girls were crying and chasing her down in the airport, like, please don't go. And they were devastated that she was leaving because this nanny had become like a part of the family. The kids loved this nanny as much as they loved the mother. The mother was actually the one even telling the story. She said, I approve of it. I think it's great. She's a wonderful lady. Well, the crazy part was I thought about it to myself and I said, this is so interesting because you're feeling bad for these poor kids because the nanny's leaving and the nanny's really attached to them. But then I was like, well, what about her three kids at home? Her three kids at home have not seen their mother for months. So what's happening with them? How do they feel? Do they feel loved or do they feel neglected? Are they maybe they're getting into stuff? Are they well nourished and protected and taken care of? Or are they because she can't it's hard for her to be a mother in Europe and a mother in Kenya at the same time, right? That's nearly impossible to do. And this happened a lot during slavery. Dr. Claude Anderson talked about in his books, Powernomics and Black Labor, White Wealth. His website's powernomics.com. I think everybody should read all of Dr. Anderson's books or at least have them around. Give them away to kids in the neighborhood. If you got extra money, buy extra copies of the books and just give them away. Like that's what me and my wife do. Remember, you're the leaders of the community. You're the teachers. Ain't nobody else going to do it if we don't do it. We are the canaries in the mine. We are the leaders. We are the winners. We are the ones who are going to make it happen. Seriously. So anyway, he said during slavery, a lot of black kids got neglected because their parents were off taking care of the white kids. And this is similar economically. We a lot of our businesses get neglected because we're off taking care of other people's businesses. You have a million black kids that graduate from college with a degree in business management, but they don't, but very few of them graduate with a degree in business development, right? You don't need to how can you manage something that doesn't exist? Well, it's like you got a hammer and you're looking for a nail. right? You're looking for something to do. I got this hammer and I know how to, I'm looking for something to hammer. Can I hammer a nail at your house or your house? No, you got to learn how to also build a house. The hammer is a tool for you to apply to the building of something that you're a part of, right? You want to develop the thing that you can't just walk around with a hammer saying, "Okay, what can I hammer? Can I hammer something for you, sir? And for you, sir?" No, and that's what happens. You have kids that'll graduate from college, and you'll say, "What's your major?" You'll say business management. Well, whose business are you going to manage? I don't know. I got to find somebody with a business so they'll let me manage it. Well, no, man. You should study business development. Then you develop the business and then you manage the business. Do you understand? You manage the thing that you developed. That way you create your own job. Do you understand? Instead of looking for an opportunity, you create opportunities. You get a deeper level of control and management over how your career goes. Your career can't go, if you can hire yourself, then you can never have a bad career. Unless you hate yourself so much that you fire yourself. Then your career will be bad. But if you can hire yourself, then you will never fire yourself. Right? So you have 100% employment in every household where people are trained on business development and job creation. So the question to me would be, why would we spend 4 years in college studying business management when I would say spend 4 years at home studying business development? Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? This is why they can, I've had people try to cancel me before because maybe I said something they didn't like. And I'm like, you can't cancel me because I talked to my boss and he'll never cancel me because my boss is named Boyce Watkins. And I asked him every day, I said, am I fired? I said something that people don't like. Am I gonna get in trouble? And he says, no, 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 you can do what you want to do because my boss my boss loves me. My boss will never fire me. My boss will ride with me till the wheels fall off. So being our own boss is essential in the black community. I'm not saying everybody has to be an entrepreneur. I know that that's a controversial idea, but everybody should own something or control something that's absolutely 100% yours, even if it doesn't have a whole lot of value. Value is created. Value is built on what you believe in. I told you the dollar bill only has value because you believe in it so much. So a lot of the things in your life that are around you, like your children and your family and your free time, you think they have no value because you don't believe in the value. They have no value because you're not investing. See, when we believe in something, we invest in it. When we invest in things, the value goes up. Do you follow the logic? Give me a yes. I'm gonna connect some dots here. We're gonna go point one, point two, point three. Tell me if you get what I'm saying. If you believe in something, you invest in it. When you invest in that thing, the value goes up. So what that basically says that is that if you believe in something and you pour into it, then by default you're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're literally manifesting another reality. I believe it's valuable. Because I believe it's valuable, I invest in it. And because I invest in it, it grows in value. So then I say, of course I believed in it. Look at how much value it has. But it's a recursive process. The value exists because you believe the value exists. But now you got more to believe in. Now you really believe the value exists because you've got something concrete to hold on to. Do you understand? So you have to have like the ability to originate the manifestation. You have to have, this is why I talk about financial consciousness so much and meditation and visualization, manifestation. I'm not trying to be some sort of spiritual guru. That's not, I'm not qualified for that, but I do know that most value, most wealth in America, most things of wealth and value in America and beyond started from somebody's freaking imagination. I remember when the Rothschilds started their empire 400 years ago. The father said to his sons, he says, sons, we are Rothschilds. And I need us to understand that there's nothing more valuable in your life than to be a Rothschild. And I need you to go out and you're going to go to London, you're going to go to Spain, you're going to go to Paris, and I need you all to set up shop in those different countries. And I need you to let the world know how valuable the Rothschild name is. And I need you to stick together. I need you to support each other, bail each other out, have each other's back, because there's nothing more important in this world for you than being a Rothschild. At the time that the father said this, the name Rothschild meant nothing. But because he made a concerted effort to shape the culture in his family, he took the lead that he was supposed to take as the father. He created a culture. He created a belief. He created an idea. He created a structure. He created a concept. He branded the family. He said Rothschild that name means something, right? And it only means something to us, but eventually it'll mean something to other people. So because they then bought into this idea and they poured into this concept that being a Rothschild meant something, well, guess what? Eventually the rest of the world got on board. Now, when I say the name Rothschild, people start shaking in their boots because they feel like the Rothschilds control everything, and they probably do. But that started with somebody believing in something that did not exist. So, to some extent, much of wealth creation is as much about the imagination as anything else, because the imagination will create the vision. Once you create the vision, you invest in the vision. And once you invest in the vision becomes real. And then other people, the blind people around you who have no vision, the small-minded Negroes that try to hold you back, eventually they'll start seeing the vision you're constructing, and then they'll start to see. Even the blind start to see when there's a building in front of them and they bump into the building, with their blind asses, right? When they were telling you the whole time that it wasn't real, and that's okay. Forgive them for they know not what they do, but I'm training you to have economic vision. If you have economic vision, then you can create economic reality because all economic reality started with a vision. Just going back to the dollar bill. The dollar bill only has value because you believe in it. If you did not believe in it, then it would have no value. So what do you believe in? That's just as important as telling me what you do for a living. I don't really care about your profession and stuff like that. I don't think we should be defined by professions. I want to know what do you believe in? What are you pouring into? Where are you going to put your time today? Put it into something that's going to benefit your family. Put it into something that's going to help you win. Put it into something where the wealth is going to come back to you. Because one of the things you don't want to do, you don't want to continue the generational curse of us having millions of black college graduates who are not financially secure. That don't even make no sense. And so anyway, let me finish up. Do I invest in what do I think about investing in tax lien certificates? Brenda, I don't do it. So I'm not even qualified to even tell you if it's good or bad. We'll try to find a tax lien certificate expert and bring him into the Black Business School. But that is something worth exploring. So anyway, one of the things that I want to mention is that don't forget that tonight we're doing the Economic Elevation Circle. If you want to join us, you can go to economicelevationcircle.com, and that's where we're putting together that generational legacy, generational wealth, stuff like that. Tomorrow, we have stock market investing class at noon. So if you want to come in and talk to me about stocks you want to pick, things like that, you can go to drboycestockmarket.com. The first month is free. One membership is for the whole family. So you don't have to pay for multiple people in your family. You can just sign up one person and then everybody can come in together. Also, I noticed that I think tomorrow or Wednesday, one of the two, where the crypto club is meeting. So if you like crypto, we have a crypto expert that's going to come in and do a Q&A and tell you which cryptos to look into and where the opportunities are. So that is b1crypto.com. Somebody could type that in. It's the number one, b1crypto.com. And and last but not least, on Tuesday, the Ghana trip. Jay Cameron's going to come in and give information about our Ghana trip. So if you'd like to travel with us as a group, you can text the word travel to the number 87948. So text travel to 87948. All right, guys. So have a good day. God bless you. And it was great to see all of you. And you'll hear from me again soon. And